Okay, we are live. All right, it's just me and you, Chris. Thank you for joining. Thank you for saving me from having a meltdown. Welcome to Leicester Down Under. I'm Luke. This is
Yeah,
Chris from
welcome, mate.
LTiDtv. How we going, Chris? Another big
Yeah,
win?
it was. I am full of a cold because I had a mate offered to give me a lift back from the match, so I didn't have to go on the train. It was very nice of him because he lives in the Midlands. We took me actually from Southampton to Bournemouth and then back up again. But it was like a mile's walk to his car. God knows where he'd parked. And I was absolutely knackered and freezing, so I've got a bit of a cold. But the game itself was like, it was like watching Brazil at times. It really was.
It was brilliant, mate. That was like, we were lucky. They were lucky, actually, to not concede more. So that was excellent. And after everything we've been going through and, people saying we've been grinding out victories, you know what? Like, we worked a lot on our final third, and Enzo City had been working on it, and it really paid and showed on Friday night,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, we've said for ages somebody's going to get a tanking soon. I don't think that was it. That wasn't necessarily a tanking, but excuse me. From a neutral's point of view, it must have been a fantastic game because it was end to end. And Danny Ward, what am I saying? Manson,
Oh, my God.
fraudulent slip. Manson made a couple of good saves. We could have had a few extra goals if Mavadidi, had maybe passed. But at the end of the day, we as fans moan at players if they sort of don't don't take the chance and try and score with a shot. Uh, so the player can't win. But I think Vardy was annoyed a couple of times with Mavadidi for not putting him through. So yes, it could have been higher, but in that first half, wow! I mean, I was knackered just watching it.
Mate, thank you. Just touching on Mavadidi, I was so relieved when I heard you say that on your review of Brad, because he created a lot of chances. He had the 2 assists, he had the 1 goal, and yes, he could have squared it to Vardy, but like Murphy's Law, what if he squared it to Vardy and he shoots it and it goes wide or it goes over the bar? And it's like, oh, why didn't you take your chance? So the fact of the matter is, he's creating all these chances. He's probably one of our biggest threats going forward. He takes his man on. He's got those dribbling abilities. He's got that flair. I'm quite excited how he's going to develop under Enzo. And in my opinion, he's by far our best choice on the left wing.
I mean, he is amazing. Last few seasons we've been moaning to our lack of choice for the wings, and now we've got a team full of wingers virtually. But yeah, look, you're never going to please the fans. I mean, if you look at Harvey Barnes, people had to go at him because he would never pass the ball, and he tried to take it on too often. And then the next season, when he was passing the ball, fans were going like, "Why didn't you take a shot? Well, you should have taken the shot there."
I know.
Players, we're fickle as fans. Fans are very fickle. But yeah, of course, Vardy's going to be upset with him. Of course, he is. He wants to score goals as a striker. But he was one of the first ones to go over and congratulate Mavadidi on his goal. And in other circumstances, he would have been my man of the match, Mavadidi. But he just got edged out.
Yeah. Your lover boy he was a close second for man of the match for me. He had a brilliant game.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah. He put in some crunching tackles. He made some great stops. That was his best game in a Leicester shirt. And, I know Connor Cody's injured and we expect him to come back in, but Vestergaard hasn't put a foot wrong.
He hasn't. And I feel very sorry for him if Cody is brought back in just because it's Cody. I don't think any player, whether it's Jamie Vardy, whether it was Riyad Mahrez, whoever, if the team is playing well while you've been out, you don't come back in. You wait your chance. But look, Vestergaard, excuse me, he was bought by Rodgers. He didn't fit into Rodgers' style of play, despite what Rodgers saying. Yes, he did. He didn't. Enzo's coming in very much like Ndidi. Square pegs in square holes. He said, "This is what I want my defender to do," and and Vestergaard does it. And the reason he got my man of the match was because it was at Southampton. and it would have been very easy for him to not purposely give a bad performance, but they obviously got a lot of barracking from the fans. Um, and he stood up to that, and he did have it. And that is the only Mavididi was the close second for me. They both got nines. I just gave it to Vestergaard because I think he's taken some stick, and unfortunately that has stuck with him, if you like. And he is there is a good player in there. We've seen it. So that's why he got my man of the match.
Just. You know what? And to be fair, that's not a bad shout because, like, for all the stick he's copped and me, I'm one of his biggest critics. Fair play to him. He had a good game. He's getting a little bit better every game, but that was by far his best game. I think that we should slowly integrate Cody. I don't want to rush him back. It is a long season. Vestergaard hasn't put a foot wrong. The main one I wanted to talk to you about was, just briefly touched on this earlier with you off studio, but James Justin, he didn't have a horrible game, and we have to be leaning on him. It's his first game back properly, starting in a long time, and I thought he had a much better second half, but I actually think he was soundly first half, and he was playing on the right side, not his normal left, and basically him and Ricardo had swapped. We're not playing with fullbacks. We're having, Ricardo as that inverted wing back, and a lot of we are playing from the back in a heavy possession-based football, but it's not like Rodgers where it's just pass it 100 trillion times at the back and just pull your hair out and then turn it over. You're having Ricardo really drop in that middle, and I'm seeing a lot with Mads Hermansen, passing it real short and close up the middle, usually to Ricardo or Vestergaard, back to him, and then it goes back out to usually Faze. That's 100% something they drill on. But we had James and Faze's. It doesn't look like Enzo anytime soon is going to be playing James or anyone else on that left side in that back three. It seems to be Callum Doyle's locks down that spot.
It is, and it's almost like he had to create somewhere to put James in. Now, it was a bit of a weird game because not all the players had come back very quickly from the internationals. So, there's a lot of players that had only got back a couple of days before, probably a little bit knackered, hadn't been able to do training because of that. So his team was very much based around the players that I think he had available. Justin can play across any position across the back, right, centre or midfield. Ricardo, very quiet on that left side. He isn't a left-sided player. It did seem like, yes, you've got Doyle there, but then why, I've said, one thing with it when Endo is good at is putting square pegs in square holes with Vestergaard and what have you. So why put him out on the right? And in that first half, he was getting skinned alive.
I thought so as well.
That wing.
And again, it's got to be lenient with him and give him time, but it's a strange one because I don't think James Justin could do as well as job as Ricardo Pereira as that, inverted, whatever you want to call it, wing back, pushing much more up in the middle. But at the same time, he's not going to play fullbacks at all. We're playing with a back three, so it's like, how do you feel about James Justin potentially working in as a back three? Do you think it's something a role he can grow into?
He can, because like I say, he can play anywhere across the back. But if Ricardo had been injured and we needed him to play there, fine. But it just seemed totally weird as to why he got Ricardo on that side, which isn't Ricardo's strongest side either. He's got two players that are out on the week. Okay, we got away with it. Justin made a fantastic save in that, tackling that first half in the box, timed it beautifully, got really good tackling. But look, he's ring rusty, isn't he? He's not played for 2 seasons or something like that regularly. So it is, we have to take that into account as well. But we played a team that is joint favourites with us to go up, and we beat them 4-1 at their place. So it's hard to sort of. I feel like I'm picking at things here to find fault. Overall, it was. I'm going to say it's an overall performance. Wow, just wow. It literally was. And in fairness to Southampton were not that bad. Yes, they had their annual sending off against us at their place at the end, which did look bad. But they weren't the bad side. And at 2-1, when they got that goal back, nerves were jangling a little bit. Because they look the more likely for me to go on and get their second rather than us go on and get the third. But the defence held firm. Like you say, the Great Dane was, meeting everything that came to him. Doyle's a bit of a worry for me. He's not hitting the form that I expected him to. He kind of cost us the goal. But the problem is he's come as this sort of wonder kid that's going to be fantastic. That basically, was brilliant at Coventry last season, and sometimes it's hard to live up to the hype.
That's it. We got to remind ourselves again. He is a kid, and we're only in the beginning of the season. But yes, 2 not so good games he's had now. I think I've lost you. I can't hear. Oh, you've muted for your cough.
Yes. So that was
awfully polite of you, Chris.
Yeah.
He is a kid, and it is still early on. But if there's any favourites so far that I've noticed, is probably actually Callum Doyle. I know he's worked a lot with Enzo in the past, and we talk about James, Justin, and Ricardo not playing on their favoured sides, and I do wonder if that is because he prefers to play, as I mentioned earlier, Callum Doyle as that back, 3 on the left-hand side. I wonder if he starts again against Norwich.
I mean, this is what we've got to realise. When you look at our substitutes, my God, that's almost like a team on its own. The likes of Sheffield Wednesday, they'd love our substitutes bench, but they'd put it out as the first team. Games are going to come thick and fast. We had a game on Friday. We've got a game on Wednesday against Norwich, and we've got Bristol City at the weekend. I was surprised Vardy stayed on for 90 minutes, but he did. But I don't think he will play. He might come on at the end against Norwich. But we've got some difficult games coming up. Norwich are not going to be easy. They're up there with us as well.
Yes.
So no, I think we'll see changes, but we've got to because there are so many games. It's not like you say, well, if you're in Europe, we have 2 games a week. Yes, we did, but not as often as we're going to get them in the Championship.
No, that's it, and that's why it's such a good problem to have the depth that we have in the Championship. Like you said, it's just plain rude that we are people say PSG, it's more like the Man City of the Championship. We could nearly split that team down the middle and do well. So it's also very good as well for people competing for a spot. It's keeping everyone on their toes, especially for our wide options. We've been screaming for a right winger for ages. Now we've got so many wide options, it's ridiculous. So it's onwards and upwards. But I would like to
here as well. What a game he had.
McAteer. Who would ever think that he was going to be our leading goal scorer before the season even started? It's absolutely mental.
His goal, they're starting to understand each other, and they're starting to, like when that ball was put through, I think it was Dewsbury Hall that put the ball through.
Yes.
He just put it into. It was a defence splitting pass. He put it in there and said, "Right, run onto it," and he did. And it was that's when I say it's like watching Brazil. It's those sort of moments, like McAteer was coming off the edge of the screen, came in and put it away beautifully. And indeed, my God, where's this player been? Where do we assign another player? Twinkle toes indeed. Putting a defender on his arse, the goalkeeper went down, and what a goal from him. It was just, and they're scoring after 21 seconds, for God's sake, come on. let us get comfy and stop breaking the fans before you score.
You know what? We can no longer call him a round peg in a square hole. He just keeps on scoring goals, and he was a bit more on the left-hand side this time when he scored that, but it was just that last touch he took. I've said it before, it was just very Jamie Vardy-esque, just plain rude, just took that last stop, went around and just banged it in the net. I was absolutely stoked for him. And you were saying earlier, bit nervous for a little bit, but I never really felt nervous. Like, we haven't seen that absolute collapse that we would see last season when we'd concede a goal and the heads would drop and it would just absolutely fall apart. I always felt like, we've still got fight and we're still in this, and we've showed that. Even in the whole game, I know we lost, but it wasn't, we're scratching for a shot at goal last season. We had, 21 shots on goal. I know not many were on target, but it wasn't like we were completely out of that game, so.
And I think as well, everybody was saying we wanted to. I mean, I wasn't glad we've lost. I'm never going to be happy that we lose, but I was glad to get it. The albatross is off our neck now. Do you know what I mean? Because we've lost the game. Long as it had gone on, it's like, oh God, when are we going to lose? When are we going to lose? But we lost against Hull. It's going to be interesting to see how we came back this time, especially with the international break between the games. And we came back and showed that fighting spirit. I think for me, the fact that we scored so early on after 21 seconds, we're thinking, another 9-0 here. And then we went 2-0 up, and you're thinking like, oh, okay, let's sit back and enjoy this. And the crowd the away crowd were absolutely fantastic. And of course, when they then got that one back, it was like, oh, hang on a second, because I had just seen Hull, and that then gave them the impetus. But getting a goal time just before half time was absolutely perfect. But I have to say, when it comes to the fans, there's a Southampton fan during the minute silence. You always get people sort of singing or something during it, and the odd one here or there. But then he absolutely, because we're on about all these people dying in Libya and Morocco, and then he made reference to Vichai.
I heard about that, mate.
Yeah. And I've got to say a thank you to Martin and Jack from a couple of Southampton fan sites who have come out and posted embarrassed and all that. It was, I mean, it was just uncalled for. And the fact that then Vardy went up and scored straight away, I mean, I didn't see the goal. I was still barracking the fans over that.
Oh, mate, it was beautiful. You've seen the replay now, I take it. Took his chance well.
Oh, yes.
He took,
yeah, I've seen
it was
the
off the
replay.
left foot, I'm pretty sure.
Sorry?
It was off his left foot as well, I'm pretty sure, Vardy, when he banged that goal in.
Yeah. I mean...
Oh, Jamie Vardy!
Exactly. I sort of said, he won't play a big part this season because of his age, whatever you. But we are in the Championship, and no disrespect, I always say it's the sixth best league in Europe after the Big Five. It's a tough one to get out of, but it is a different standard. We've got away with a lot when our defence has been sort of just trying to get it clear, and a lot of teams, like say we've been playing Liverpool or Man United, would have punished us. But we are in the Championship, so we are at a different level. And yeah, maybe Jamie can go on and take us back up. It would be a fitting end if he doesn't sign an extra contract. But who's to say that he won't sign an extra contract?
Well, that's it. We don't know, and it just depends on how his body holds up and how the rest of the season goes. But
yeah.
He's got a really smart football brain. He draws a lot of defenders, and
yeah.
We know that Kelechi's been really good, and I love Kelechi, and he's really good at having his back to the goal and dropping deep and linking up play. But to be fair, Jamie Vardy did really well, drawing the defenders and making those runs. And I think there was an absolutely superb game for Jamie Vardy. Really happy for him, and hopefully the goal will start flooding in now.
As long as he did, because I think he stayed on for about 84 minutes, something like that. And I thought he would have been coming off after 55, 60 minutes, but he didn't. And I think what he started to do, and it's amazing, you do see things so much differently when you're there live, and what I saw was Jamie Vardy conserving his energy. He wasn't running around like a headless chicken, but he was still had moments when their goalkeeper had got the ball at his feet and Jamie Vardy was running towards him, and he really he made him clear it quickly. Do you know what I mean? So He was conserving
Yes.
his energy for those bursts, and you don't always see that on the TV. You don't see what players are doing off off the ball. So it was great to go and see the game because of that. And yeah, I criticised Jamie Vardy a bit this season, but at least we've got a striker scoring in the league now. But let me look. We're what, 6 games in? We're second. I mean, wow.
Mate,
You
couldn't
know,
be happier. Couldn't
no.
ask for more before the season even started. And everyone's saying, oh, we're just grinding out these victories and we were lucky. Well, so what? We've got the wins. That's what matters. We're developing. We've got basically a borderline new team, new manager. The championship is the place to develop these players. This team has got to get used to playing with each other. I would much rather be doing it in the championship than the Premier League. Because like you said, if this was the Premier League, a lot of these mistakes that we make would be punished. Yes, that's true. And this punishment, if they were to come, hypothetically, could damage a lot of these young players' confidence. So I think this is
And I
best
think if we stayed
scenario.
up, we might have tried to keep some of those players that we let go because of their experience. But it's like I've said so many times. Back when we went down to League One, it was the right time. You could do a reset. We got relegated. Get rid of the manager. Let's get a new manager in. And what a job he's doing. And we've reset. And who's to say that the players like Cashaday and those players that we've got on loan, Doyle, at the end of the season, if we get promoted, they may look at it and go, "Oh, if I go back to Chelsea or Man City, am I seriously going to get in that team?" And if they're thinking no, because they like to bring no named players in, don't they? And they think, well, we're not going to get a game. They may then turn loan moves into permanent ones.
Well, that's exactly right. Because if you look at who Enzo has been able to even bring into the championship side and who he's been able to keep, absolutely, I have absolute confidence that that will be the case because this is, you can be a fringe player in these bigger clubs, or you can be, part of an ambitious side, young side that are excited. And, if we are to hypothetically, touch wood, go up, this is your chance. This is to put yourself on the map. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to sit on the bench or do you want to,
fringe players as such in this league because we're going to need them because we are playing so many games.
Yes.
All right, we're likely to be out of the Caribou Cup next round. You never 100% know, but I think we probably will be. But we are going to be playing a lot more games, so fringe players are always going to be getting the chance to look at Friday night. But Enzo, he wasn't my first choice, but my God, he's proving me wrong at the moment.
I know. He was nearly actually my man. I thought about it as a laugh saying he was my man of the match because his game management was absolutely superb. And throughout the whole season, all of these subs have made a positive impact and have been not sort of a panic. It's been, his intuition's been great. He's got a great football brain, and I'm trying to rein it in a little bit about him because I'm definitely all aboard the Enzo hype train right now.
Well, I like I said, I wanted somebody that had got experience at this level. So I would have been quite happy with the Ipswich manager or the Blackburn Rovers manager. When he came in, yes, it excited me because let's face it, 6 days before he joined us, he just lifted the Premier League trophy, and we're doing a special on him tonight on one of the show tonight. And I was thinking like, oh, is he the right man for it? Blah blah blah. My God, at the moment he is.
At the moment he is.
And manager of the month curse. What's one of them?
I know exactly. Yeah, who believes in superstition? We just bounced back from a disappointing, but not the end of the world loss to Hull. This meltdown everyone had online, just calm down. We just came back, had the international break, had more time to work with a lot of our new signings, and we just beat a fellow, Premier League side that's just been relegated with us and is also the favourite alongside us to go straight back up, and we just smashed them 4-1 with all due respect. So, what have you got to complain about?
If we beat Norwich on Wednesday, because they're up there with us, aren't they? They're, I think, in the top 6. That is the statement. Beating Southampton and beating Norwich. that will be a real statement to the rest of the league.
If we beat Norwich, and for me, the team to beat right now is Leeds. If we beat Leeds and we come up against them, I'll be getting pretty excited.
Leeds,
All right, Chris.
they haven't really.
Sorry, mate.
No, I was saying Leeds haven't really got me excited. They've had a lot of problems. It'd be interesting to see how they do. Have we got Leeds coming up soon?
I'll have to check. I don't think it's for a while. I think we've got. Just give me a second here, and I'll have a look.
We've got Norwich on Wednesday. Then we've got Bristol.
Right.
City. Then we've got Liverpool the following Wednesday in the Carabao Cup. Then we've got Blackburn. Tell you what, Preston on the 4th of October. That will be a top of the table clash, possibly.
Mate, I did not expect them to be doing as well as they're doing. I know it's early days, but fair play to them. They are looking like the team to beat, but I just don't think that everyone has the same depth as us, and I think it's going to show towards the back end of the season. We're going to have a lot more fresh legs. We're going to be able to rotate a lot better, and I think that's where it's going to start to show the difference in quality between Leicester and a lot of the other clubs in the Championship.
I tell you what, it's just nice to see us winning again.
It's not only is it nice to see us winning, but creating so many chances. I don't want to turn this into a rant about Rodgers and last season because believe me, I could. But onwards and upwards.
Against Southampton, they had the more chances. They had the more touches.
Well, that's it. It's funny you say that. That was our first game where we had, I think, we've been having at least 63% possession every single game up until then. We shaped up a bit differently, but who needs possession when you're banging in goals and creating chances like that?
We won the Premier League with the lowest ever possession of any club, didn't we? So it's a great time to be a Leicester fan again. But if we go up, and it would be nice to go up and win a trophy as in the Championship, but just think, the doom and gloom that was around the club this time last year.
Mate, I was one of them.
Sorry,
you're probably gonna grasp me up here, and anything you say after this is a complete total allegation. But I used to have another alias. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I had an alias before I started my YouTube channel, and I felt like I was forever coming on your channel and just spouting negative, moaning, complaining, sulking, and it was not nice. It was not good for our mental health as a Leicester City fan. But I'm getting up live for all these games at 2 to 3 in the morning and watching these thrashings, going to work, kicking rocks, and thought that our whole team was going to get picked clean like a carcass by vultures, and we weren't going to keep anyone, and we weren't going to spend the money because we'd just been relegated. But look at who we've kept and who we've been able to bring in. Cody, Winks. It's
Winks, unbelievable. But Top's really backed Enzo, and we were all moaning last season, and it was an awful window. But look, it's completely opposite this season. So let's enjoy it for what it is, and come on, you foxes.
Come on, you foxes. All right, Chris. Well, I'll let you go. I know you've got stuff to do, but just before you go, I will be watching, and I'll be there for the watch along for the Norwich game. I won't probably be able to jump on because I don't think my missus will fancy me talking it after 3 in the morning, but I will be watching it like the maniac I am. I will set the alarm. Yeah. You got a score prediction for Norwich?
I went 2-2 for Southampton. I'm probably going to say 2-2 again.
2-2? You going for a draw?
Yeah.
I tried to be modest on your watch along with Brandon and say I'll go for a 2-1, but I'm gonna go for a 3-0 victory. Clean sheet, 3 goals, and I think Nacho Man's going to bang in a brace.
Hey, I was hoping Vestergaard was going to score on Friday night, but wasn't to be.
I'll close it with this. If Vestergaard scores from a set piece, I will buy his shirt with his name on it, and I will wear it for the next following month.
Right, you've heard it here, folks. You've heard it here.
You heard it here. Yeah. You've got receipts. Well, thanks heaps for jumping on, Chris. And this probably was a bit disorganized to begin with, but thank you heaps for helping me through. I love jumping on your channel. Everyone, please be sure to follow Chris at LTiDtv. Him and Brad have some really good content, and you can catch me there as well for the pre-halftime and post-match most games.
Well, when your wife lets you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, when I'm allowed. Yeah.
You're allowed.
All right, guys. Thank you, Chris.
Mate, take care.
All the best, mate. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.